Next to the birth of the baby Mac, I'm talking computer versus burger, and alongside the closest approximation of Halley's Comet toward Earth, arrived a feat which felt equally inconceivable but nevertheless occurred. It was the summer of 85 or 86, and I was shipped off to camp against my wishes. No one consulted me, but my parents thought it would be a good idea to send me off with a gaggle of 9 and 10-year-old girls. I knew it was a plan doomed from the start. It wasn't the cross-country trip from Virginia to California solo that threw me. Navigating layovers expressed through my DNA, much like my Dutch and Indian heritage blended together to form, in theory, one unified me. Next to my camp counterparts, who were all slender and fair-skinned, I was chubby. Tall as a spatula, round as a melon scoop. My melanin expressed more at that time than at any other time in my life, never suggesting Indian as in Asian, but other. I did not belong in this homogeneous group. Add to that the fact that this camp was religious and occurred on top of a mountain when I was a beach girl. Well, I was a scrambled soul atop an egg sandwich when I hated eggs. Now, camp itself may have only lasted 1 week, but it felt like one galactic year, which, if you don't know, and why should you, is 225 million Earth years. Don't ask me what we did at camp. It could have involved astral travel because we had 6 gurus on our altar, but it didn't even involve talk about time or space, but something obnoxious with yarn, and at some point a hike in the mountains where I discovered that there was such a thing as a mountain lion. And all I could conjure in my mind was the idea of a lion, like as in the Wizard of Oz, but I've been clicking my heels together all through camp, and it did not return me back home to Virginia Beach. Little did I know that decades later I would be making home in a town where the mountain lions traipse through our hills and sometimes through our streets. But back to my story. We arrive at the last day, and I may have even made one friend. Don't ask me how that happened. But I was thrilled, so very thrilled to be going home that I thought, well, maybe there's some way I can still fit in. And as we all packed our bags and prepared to head off on this bus down the mountain, I decided I'm going to sit in the back with the cool kids. Well, that's not a great idea when you have car sickness. Also, being 9 or 10, and especially female, for some reason, the vestibular system, it's more touchy, especially in females. Add to that, everyone was dipping into their sandwiches, their lunch sacks, and I heard the crunching of chips, and I thought, I could be like them. So I bit into my sandwich, one bite, and then another, and I thought, this is going okay. So I finished the whole sandwich when something started to bubble up in me as we were winding around the corners. I had this familiar feeling someone was about to toss her cookies, and that was gonna be me. Now, this was not going to endear myself anymore with these kids, but I was praying to all 6 gurus and whoever would listen, and maybe someone did, because when we reached the base town, we drove into a Circle K, which is a gas station / convenience store, and we all bolted off the bus, and I started surveying. But I was only a 9 or 10-year-old kid, and I had not perfected the art of puking in public yet. Actually never have. And I see this trash can, and it is large enough, but the top of the trash can is permanently mounted above the can, the receptacle, and I'm thinking, am I going to have to shove my entire face inside of the garbage can to make this happen? So I start praying even more, and I'm like bargaining with whatever you can bargain with your 9 or 10-year-old self, and I'm waiting for this divine intervention, but karma is taking effect, by which I mean cause and effect, because when you have motion sickness and you eat and you're on the back of a bus going down a mountain, eventually the inevitable is going to happen. Now inside the Circle K, there's a slushy machine going around and around, delivering these sickeningly sweet desserts to everybody. And outside the Circle K, I am delivering my sickeningly sweet all over the sidewalk, missing the receptacle entirely. At some point, the camp counselor comes over, not to console, but to scold me for missing the trash can, and I skulk off to the front of the bus, and I think this feels about right. This feels like the ending I always expected. And the rest of the trip goes just fine, and at some point that summer, or maybe the next, well, that dirty snowball of a comet launched perfectly across the sky in an elliptical orbit, part of our universe, part of our Milky Way, to which I would never even have to try to belong.